A very good morning to you. Welcome to a brand new week. It's another Monday morning, Motivation Monday on Jam 316. My name is James Okumu. So glad you could take the time to join me as we engage in another conversation that I know will uplift you. So 2021 is here. We are so optimistic, looking forward to a beautiful year. We have so many things we've planned out. But you know, sometimes our emotions get in the way. Sometimes you want to go in a particular direction and your emotions get in the way, and you have so many negative emotions that derail the very good things you had wanted to do. And so today we are going to be talking about how to deal with negative emotions. And earlier on my radio show, I was asking people, what is your go-to activity when you're feeling low and discouraged? And I got a lot of interesting answers. One individual said they play with the baby. The smile of the baby just makes them happy. Somebody else said they go to YouTube to watch Tom and Jerry videos, and the laughter just brings them back to life. Somebody else says they like jogging. Another one says they clean the house when they're feeling low and discouraged. For me, I watch a movie with some chips, not chips, crisps, and some tomato sauce. That will do me some good. So this morning it's all about dealing with negative emotions. What are those negative emotions? And if we don't deal with them, how will they affect our lives? Those are some of the things we are going to be talking about today. And so I'm throwing out the same question to you as I was throwing out to my radio audience earlier on. What is your go-to activity when you are feeling low and discouraged? Share that with me via SMS on 20316, WhatsApp 0786 316 316. Motivation Monday. Today we are tackling the issue of how to deal with negative emotions. We all go through them, and sometimes when you don't know how to deal with them, it can derail your life. I'm thinking about Moses, and how he was so angry with the children of Israel that instead of speaking to the rock, he struck the rock. My friend, that caused him not to enter into the land of promise. Emotions can just derail you from your destiny. So how do we manage negative emotions? And I was asking you the question, what is your go-to activity when you're feeling low and discouraged? I have a message here. You haven't given me your name, but you tell me you jump on your motorbike and you just ride. Yeah, okay, that's a nice one. And then Kemp says for him, he just speaks the word of God into his situation. This morning, I'm so glad to be joined by a friend, Coach Steve Mwiro. He's a coach, he's an author, he's a motivational speaker, ni mchoraji wa nyumba. He is all things to all men, so to speak. Steve Mwiro, Happy New Year. How are you doing?
Happy New Year, Percy, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. How are you?
I'm very fine. You're one busy man. I'm always seeing you on social media. You're interviewing great people. You're doing classes. You're building houses. My friend, when I grow up, I want to be just like you.
I think, Percy, that's a matter of perspective. There are many things I admire about you, and I say when I grow up, I want to be like you.
Oh, okay. So both of us have some growing up to do, eh?
Yeah. Yes, the greatest room is always room for improvement.
Very true, very true. So, Steve, today we are talking about managing negative emotions. Maybe we can begin by defining what these negative emotions are. When we say negative emotions, what exactly are we talking about?
I think the best part to start is that people are generally creatures of emotions.
Yes.
More than they are creatures of even logic. Let's start there. Emotions are just about feelings, things that make you feel one way or the other. That's what emotions are.
Yeah.
So negative emotions could be categorized as those feelings that make you feel low, that make you feel perhaps unworthy, that make you tend to do things that are negative. They drag you back rather than propel you forward. Things like anger, things like frustration, things like fear, things like anxiety. All those are examples of negative emotions.
Okay. And all of us have those emotions, right?
Yeah, because as I said, human beings are generally creatures of emotions.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, if left unchecked, if these negative emotions are left unchecked, what kind of effects could they have on our lives?
If negative emotions are left unchecked, they could have dire consequences. They could lead you to destruction. They could lead you to a lot of damage in your life. They could even lead you to feeling, the most obvious one is that they make you feel stuck in a situation, like a vehicle that is stuck in mud.
Yes.
You want to move, but you can't move. You feel like you are held hostage, because that's what emotions do. They make you a hostage of a situation.
I like that. I like that illustration and that terminology. And you know, I was just thinking about this, Steve, that sometimes, you know, our emotions are generated by what we see, what we hear, our surroundings, activities that maybe we do. And I was thinking how sometimes our emotions take control of our lives, yet they're not based on truth. And I was thinking about that because sometimes you watch a movie and you are so vested in the movie, you get angry at this villain. How can he do that? He should not escape. You know, you start having thoughts, shoot him, you know, and you get so emotional, but it's just a movie. It's not the reality, you know. So I don't know what you think about that.
Allow me to say this, James.
Yes.
One, life is 10% what happens to us, and 90% how we choose to respond or react. Which leads me to something I like calling the law of self-control. And the law of self-control simply says that no one and nothing can make you feel anything. How you feel about someone or how you feel about anything or a situation is dependent on how you choose to think about it. In other words, it's all about your thought process. The locus of control in your life is always how you think. Your thoughts are so important. So anything that you find is affecting you is becoming a master to you. So when you find that a movie is taking you to a level where you feel like you actually own the world, or you do like we read the other day about a young man who said he was watching some funny series and he killed his entire family because of that. What that means is that he took leave of his medulla oblongata. He took leave of his senses. He took leave of his thinking process. That's what happens, Pastor.
Because I also see sometimes men get so emotionally charged up when they are watching soccer. You know, when their team loses or their team wins, and they get into all sorts of arguments. There's one time I'd gone to the barber shop, and these two men were having a heated conversation about football. They almost got physical. And I thought, yani, some people take this thing this seriously. I was so shocked.
Oh, they do. You've even seen situations where some young men, unfortunately, here in Kenya, have committed suicide wearing jerseys of football teams they support. And when these teams lose, they cannot take it. They just decide to take their lives instead. That's the level of slavery that a lot of people are in right now. And it is unfortunate because nothing should lead you to committing or doing such a heinous thing. Nothing should hold you hostage, no matter what. Your brain that you are given freely by God has everything you need to use to master your life, to master your emotions, to be in charge of them. And let me just tell you, emotions, Pastor, are simply messages. They are simply signals. They are telling you something. The negative emotions especially are signals that something is not right. And when you are told something is not right, the way to handle it is not to go and commit suicide, is not to go and fight, is not to go and argue. It's simply to understand that that message is telling you, take control of something, do something about it, which is what I am sure we'll be discussing. What do you do about such emotions?
Very true. I love what you're saying, because sometimes we think that we are slaves to our emotions. You know, I've had people just say, "Mi nakuwaga tu na hasira." You know, me, I just get angry. It's like you've owned it. You don't want to control it. You don't want to change it. You've just embraced it. Me, this is just how I am. Me nakuwaga too depressed. You know, sometimes you hear people say things and you're thinking, why are you allowing yourself to take residence in that kind of an emotional state? Yeah.
And it is so bad because, you see, you began by quoting something about Moses in the Bible.
Yes.
The world is full of very good examples that we can borrow from. And there's no point of just saying, me, I'm just like this. Just like this, what does that mean? That's not a description. Just like this is it's so ambiguous.
Yes.
When you know that you have a certain kind of emotion that has held you captive or that has made you stuck in life, sometimes it's good to understand that throughout history, you're not the first one to feel this. Throughout history, people have felt things. People have gone through things that are even worse than perhaps what you're going through. And when you know that, and you know you are not alone in this, there's always help out there, maybe through those examples, or even maybe through talking to Percy, or through talking to Coach. There are many avenues through which you can get help. But I wanted to talk about history because as we get deeper into how you manage your emotions, how you overcome them, there's a story I like giving when I train about a guy called Viktor Frankl. I don't know whether you read about Viktor Frankl.
No.
Viktor Frankl was a Jew, and he was in the concentration, those Holocaust times, the concentration camps of Hitler.
Yes.
And he watched his entire family decimated through a gas chamber. They were burnt alive, you know. And he was also forced, I understand, to sweep their ashes.
Wow.
Percy, can you just imagine you're watching your entire family being burnt alive, and you're there, you're being told watch and then sweep their ashes. Going through something like that is very, very traumatic, no matter how you think about it. But he survived and he came out, and why I'm talking about him is that there's a book he wrote called In Man's Search of Meaning. It's a very good book. I would recommend it to anyone who is thinking about emotions. In Man's Search of Meaning. And he looked at himself and said, I'm alive. There must be a meaning to that. I'm alive, Percy. God is not done with me. And in that book, there's a quote that he has written, which I find so profound. And he says, everything can be taken away from man. Everything can be taken away from man, except one thing, the right to choose his attitude in any given set of circumstances. That is profound, Percy.
Yes, that is profound. Wow.
Yes.
Somebody's just sending me a text telling me, Pastor, some boys yesterday burnt a school because of unchecked emotions for being denied to watch a football match. I mean, listen to that. It's
crazy. It's crazy. You even think about the story we had the other day. A man was ferrying cows in this country.
Yes.
Cows in a truck he had just bought to go and sell business.
Yes.
Then they had a commotion with some motorbike guys. And the motorbike guys burned the truck plus the cows.
Imagine.
And then they went ahead to tell him, you are dynasty, we are that kind of nonsense that's going on in our country.
Yes.
Because sometimes things we say politically whip up emotions that are crazy.
Yes.
And when people don't understand that they're just pawns in a game, they'll end up being victims or culprits. So this issue of you have the right to choose your attitude in any given set of circumstances is a beginning of knowing how to overcome emotions.
Yeah.
And I have a formula I like teaching, James. If you may allow me to share this formula. Whenever you are faced with situations, how do you go about dealing with the emotions that emanate thereof?
Okay.
And that formula, I have codenamed it Adam. A-D-A-R-M. Adam. Not Adam. Adam. There's an R there. Adam. Yes. I love teaching through acronyms because they make it easier for people to remember.
Very okay. We'll get into Adam in the next short while. If you're listening or watching this morning, talk to us. What questions do you have? Are you challenged in controlling your emotions? Do they get the best of you and then later on you regret? 20316 is the SMS line. WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. Today, Coach Steve is in the studio. Don't waste this opportunity. He can design your life. He's an architect and a motivational speaker and an author. And I like having conversations with him. He leaves me with some good things to think about. So take advantage of this opportunity if you have a question and throw it in. It's Motivation Monday. My name is James Okumu. Today we get to hang out with Coach Steve, and we are talking about overcoming negative emotions, inviting your questions via text on 20316, WhatsApp 0786 316 316. So Steve, we are back with you. We said Adam.
Adam, yes.
Yes. Tell us about Adam.
You know, I coined that word, that code name, simply because, as I said earlier, emotions are simply messages. An emotion that you are experiencing is a messenger. It's just telling you something, Pastor. And as such, even what we consider negative emotions could actually be used or should actually be used for your good or for the good of those around you.
Yeah.
Because if it's a messenger, don't kill the messenger, you know? Just understand the message and take action.
Yes.
For example, when we are feeling fear, fear is an emotion that simply tells you your safety is threatened. Whatever safety, it could be physical safety, it could be financial safety, whatever. But there is some message there that there is a safety issue. So you need to understand what is it or where is it coming from.
Yes.
When you're feeling angry, that agitation, it's simply telling you that there's an unpleasant situation that you are in and you need to do something about it. It could be something you have done, it could be something somebody else has done, but whatever the case, analyze it to understand it. If you're feeling resentment is usually towards people. It's simply telling you that there is a problem with the relationship.
Yes.
Not necessarily with the person, but there is a problem. You could also be part of the problem.
Yes.
So that resentment is sending a message, a signal that you need to work on something. So I coined the word Adam, and I want to just explain what it means. I got to the first letter, A, there. The A in Adam simply means, the first one, simply means that you need to acknowledge two things here. Acknowledge, one, you are a human being, and as such, you will be prone to emotions.
Yeah.
No human being is above feelings. Number two, when you feel them, it's so important to acknowledge that you are feeling the emotions.
Yes.
Because some people tend to block or ignore. You cannot do that because you can't deal with that which you have not acknowledged, James. So you need to acknowledge that you are a human being, and every human being has emotions. Who are you? You are not an angel. So you cannot say that you are above situations.
Yes.
You are not. And therefore, acknowledge, I'm a human being. I'm a sinner. All men have sinned. You know, emotions, some of them come from our own sins.
Yes.
So the moment you acknowledge, it means you are ready to deal. Because if you have not acknowledged, you can't deal. If you're in an ivory tower, nobody will even help you. You stay there in your ivory tower, sort out your own issues. But when you say, oh, Lord, I know I'm human.
Yes.
Even God himself says, oh, now he knows.
Yes.
Now if he's asking for help, because you have to ask for help. God doesn't help us just like that. We have to ask for it. Then you'll be helped. So acknowledge, that's one. Then we go to D. It's very, very important. D is distinguish between emotions or differentiate between emotions.
Okay.
Because you could be feeling something right now, James. Looking at you, I may not tell what it is, but I can tell something is wrong with James.
Yeah.
And there are people you will ask, hey, what's up? Somebody tells you, I'm feeling just like that.
Yeah.
Oh, when you say you are feeling just like that, how can you be helped? What is just like that? What does that mean?
Niko tu hapo.
Nasikia tu hivyo. Hivyo ni nini? Can you help somebody, pastor, who tells you, hata mtu akikuja kwako, akwambie, nasikia tu, like, it's like you go to a doctor, you have this pain, and then you tell the doctor, I'm just feeling just like that. I'm feeling pain. Where? Everywhere.
Yes.
That is so ambiguous. You can't be helped when you are feeling just like that. So, some of the people you see doing crazy things is because they have not been able to label. Because differentiating between emotions is an issue of being able to label them. What are you feeling? I'm feeling angry. What are you feeling? I'm feeling frustrated. What are you feeling? I'm feeling sad. What are you feeling? I'm feeling resentful.
Why is it important to label them?
I will tell you just now. And just like I've said, how do you deal with something you don't know? Who am I speaking to today? Pastor James. So even when I'm talking to him, I don't call him Pastor James. It's Pastor James.
Yes.
There's a reason why labeling is so important, because then you know exactly what you're going to deal with.
Yes.
Because the way anger manifests is very different from the way frustrations manifest.
Very
and
true.
therefore, the way you deal with anger is very different from the way you deal with frustration. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yes. So you need to label. And let me, before I get out of that point, say that labeling is a function of you being deliberate. You have to take time, because you know when you're angry, you have to take time to start knowing what triggers this. Because you are labeling to know what really triggers anger in me, what triggers frustration in me. That's where you want to go to.
Yes.
Because these emotions are basically just symptoms of something deeper. And what is deeper is what you need to deal with. So until you're able to label an emotion, which will help you understand the trigger, you will never be able to overcome or manage your emotions.
Okay, Steve, so I have an interesting one here before you move on. This one says, "Good morning, Percy. I tend to cut myself when I am sad or anxiously sad. I also listen to gospel music." How do you help somebody like that? They cut themselves and they're listening to gospel music.
You are talking about cutting?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, when they are cutting, it means they have gotten to a level where the excitement is so much for whatever it is that they feel the only way to bring themselves down is to numb themselves through pain. It's like using a negative to neutralize a positive, or the other way around.
Yeah.
And it's never good, because then you may not control when you cut yourself. How much do you bleed? What does it lead to? What kind of infections are you likely to get from the objects that you're cutting yourselves with? I know there was a girl in a school, let me not mention the name of the school, but I am in the school. I'm in so many schools, but in one of them, who was cutting herself every time exam time came around.
Oh.
Yes?
Okay.
And the principal was so good. They have a very strong department of counseling and guidance. It was so good that they got to the bottom of it. It's because she always had this thing of the expectations from parents. And it made her feel like the only way to deal with it is to inflict pain on herself, so that even if she didn't perform, she's already paid forward. She's already
punished herself.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I've already felt the pain, so there's not much you can tell me to make me feel worse. And that's a big problem. Some of the emotions we'll be dealing with here, and I'm going to talk about it in the Adam thing, don't come from our own. You are doing something as a way of rebelling against some people who may be in authority or who may have some power over you, who have caused you pain inside, and you want to bring it outside.
Wow. So what would you advise this individual to do?
We're going down. We're going down.
Okay.
It will be in one of the letters.
Okay.
So after differentiation, we go to the next letter. The next letter is A.
Yeah.
You know what it is? Accept and appreciate. Accept. It is so good to accept that now I know. It is so good to appreciate, yes, this is what it is. Then it will no longer have power over you. When you accept and you appreciate that I know, knowledge gives you so much power to deal with it. When it's still in the dark recess of your mind, you don't know it, you cannot label it, it has power over you. When you accept and appreciate, the next thing you need to do in the same accept and appreciate point is that write it down. It's so good to label things and write them down so that you know next time it's something you can even revisit, you can revise, you can go back to and know, oh, every time this comes, what did I write? Oh, I feel whenever James tells me ABCD, supposing your son or your daughter, James, has this thing and it comes from, maybe Percy has come from work, he's stressed, he's bringing stress on me, and I've never quite known. If I start labeling, I'll know, oh, this only happens after he comes from work. This only happens after You get my drift?
I get your drift.
So accept, appreciate, and write down things that you have started labeling. When you do that, I'm saying it has power over you now. Now you can see it. You've exposed it, in short. What you have exposed no longer holds power over you.
Very true.
You have power over it.
Very,
you know
very
why
true.
the Bible is so powerful? It's because all those things were written and we can read. If those men who are inspired by God never wrote those things down, and you are told there is a Bible somewhere, you'll be like, where?
Yeah.
What is it about? But now the written word is very, very powerful.
Very true.
So write down.
Wow.
And after you've written down, you go to the letter now that carries the crux of the matter. The crux of the matter is in R. R. R is what really helps us manage emotions. Why? R means reflect on the emotion and its origin.
Oh.
Reflect on the emotion and its origin. Why? Sometimes you want to kill the sinner.
Yeah.
Well, in actual fact, what you should be killing is a sin.
Yes.
When you reflect on an emotion, it helps you know what is the cause, what is the source, what's the foundation, what is bringing this about. Now, if I'm feeling angry, let me tell you, if you don't do these things I'm talking about, and especially if you don't reflect on the anger, chances are maybe you are angered at home, but now you come to work and you unleash it on everybody there, making your working environment messy. So you don't even become productive because everybody around you is unhappy. And yet they have nothing to do with your issues, James.
You know, you say that, and I'm reminded a friend of mine was sharing how the boss was a lady, you know, and this friend of mine was telling me every time they have arguments at home, in the office, we take the blunt for what happened at home. She comes in, she's moody, she yells at everybody. I mean, you don't want to meet with her on that day. You know, on the other days, she's fine. But akikuja amekasirika, you just know at home, things are not okay. So I understand what you're saying. And sometimes we do it, we take the anger from the office and we take it home.
Yes. In fact, if you see somebody who brings issues from either the workplace to home or home to workplace, it works both ways. And generally, that person has issues they need to deal with. So when you are in the habit of reflecting on emotions, when you feel angry, because you will know. James, when you're angry, you know. When you're frustrated, you know. You need to sit by yourself and ask yourself, what is causing this? So that you deal with that and you not project it on everybody else. You should not be carrying a tag on yourself that I'm angry. Everybody you meet, you are a billboard of anger. You are a billboard of frustrations. You are a billboard of anxiety. No. You need to know if it is so-and-so who is making me feel this. I need to confront that person, not in a manner to fight, but in a manner to discuss why I am feeling the way I'm feeling, and so that we can get to a level where we have a solution. If it's something that person does that doesn't make you feel happy, let the person know, and let them know in a loving environment, not in a war environment. Let them know in a way they will understand. Otherwise, if you communicate to them when you are still angry, it will have a negative effect. It will be counterproductive. You need to approach them from a point of peace, from a point of love, from a point of caring.
Yes. Very true.
If it's your child who makes you feel angry, don't ever approach them when you're angry.
Steve, I'm just wondering, I'm wondering about projected anger. You know, so Steve is my friend, and Steve is angry with Joseph. And because Steve is my friend and he's angry with Joseph, I have no idea what happened between Steve and Joseph. But because Steve is my friend and he's angry at Joseph, even me, I have to stand with Steve and be angry with Joseph as well. Yet I really don't have any idea what happened between Steve and Joseph. But I'm being loyal to Steve, so I'm also angry with Joseph. Talk to us a bit about that. Is that a good thing?
No, it's not. It's not a good thing. It can never be a good thing because, you see, every individual should be judged on their own merit.
Yeah.
they should be taken at their level. And you see, in emotional intelligence, we say the beginning of emotional intelligence is self-awareness.
Yes.
Even you who is projecting anger on Joseph and you don't even know what happened between Steve and Joseph, you need to ask yourself this question: why are you angry with Joseph? Because it would mean that Steve, if he's making you angry with Joseph simply because you're friends, Steve is your master.
Yeah, exactly.
You are not independent. You are not strong enough to stand on your own 2 feet, on your own principle. So self-awareness is the foundation of controlling emotions. It's a foundation of emotional intelligence. I know we are told, James, a lot of research has been done. It has shown that a huge percentage of our success in life, whether at work or at home, is due to our emotional intelligence. It's due to our emotional hygiene. It's due to how we handle especially the negative emotions. If you're able to contain yourself, if you're able to control yourself in any given situation, then people will look at you as a person to emulate.
Yes.
But if you are used or given to throwing tantrums or just speaking for the sake of speaking because you have these emotions, people will avoid you. You will be looked at as anathema. You're not a good person.
Yeah.
They will be talking in whispers. Huyo.
Yeah.
Don't touch that one with a 10-foot pole. That's not what we want, because we all need each other.
Yeah.
And people tend to look up to people who are composed, who are calm, who are cool, especially under distressful situations. Is that not true?
Very true. Very true.
So never let somebody else's issues flow over to you and you start doing things and you say, oh, it's because of so and so.
Yeah.
It simply means you are a puppet, you are a slave, or you are a weakling.
Yes. Wow, we are talking about managing negative emotions. If you have any questions for us, you have 15 more minutes to ask your questions. So throw in your question right now. 20316 is the SMS line. WhatsApp number is 0786 316 316. We are talking about ADAM. That's the acronym Steve is giving us to help us remember how to deal with negative emotions. We have got one more letter to go. We'll get to that in the next short while. My name is James Okumo. This morning we are hanging out with Coach Steve. We are talking about managing negative emotions. Thank you for your feedback. I've got okay. I've got some questions here and some thoughts. There's one that's referring to the whole story of the cows. Somebody saying, sir, unless I'm mistaken, the example of the burnt cows in a lorry was established to be fake news. The story was from an incident that an incident extracted from Western Africa. Somebody else is saying that was a Nigerian story. I don't know about that. I don't think I saw that story. I don't know what you think, Steve. The story of the pickup and the cows. Somebody saying that was not. One is saying it was fake news. Another one was saying it's from Nigeria, not Kenya. I don't know.
Well, what I would want to say, Percy, is that first of all, if it's fake story, I would want to apologize. But the point is not about really the story. It's about what caused that to happen, whether it happened in Kenya or it's about emotions.
Yes. Yes.
That's the point. I don't want that to be lost on us. So if it is not Kenyan, thank you, Lord. But wherever it happened, it's really about emotions. And that's what I would want us to focus on, Percy.
Okay. Somebody else is asking, mostly when I'm angered by people close to me, I keep quiet. I don't talk to them, and this might take weeks or even months, depending. How do I resolve that?
That is a very good question. It actually leads me to the last letter I want to discuss, Percy, because it's about M. M is management. Now you've reflected, you've done all the things that you said. How do you manage? That's really what this topic is about. And let me tell you, first of all, when you ignore, when you go silent for a month, what you are doing is that just letting the emotions fester.
Yes.
You are sweeping them under the carpet. You're letting them, fester like a wound. If you let a wound fester for long, what happens to it? If you don't take care of it, it may even kill you. Unchecked anger is so bad, it builds like a dam. And the moment it will burst, it can make you do crazy things, including committing murder or committing suicide, killing yourself or killing other people.
Yeah.
So if you have issues where you feel when people make you angry, you don't want to talk to them. Trust me, you are just sweeping an issue under the carpet.
Yeah.
And one day it will explode, and the damage may be so much. There is no better solution when you have an issue with people than to talk it out. First, you may not talk it out with them. You may need to talk it out with somebody else so that they can give you a perspective you don't have. Because all these things are an issue of perspective.
Yes.
I see we don't have too much time, but let me just tell you a very quick story. Then I talk about management in 2 minutes.
Okay.
There is a young man who was newly married. They got a baby. Baby grew to 4 years. By the time he was 4 years, this guy had become a stranger to his own home. Those guys who they're making money, they're progressing in life. He comes home at 3, comes home at 4, drunk. He spends more time with friends than with family.
Yes.
I know you know those kind of stories, Percy.
Yes.
So one day on his birthday, when his son was 4 years, he went and bought himself a BMW. And by the way, this is a true story. I read it in a Reader's Digest. He bought himself a BMW. And of course, he wanted the boys that he hangs out with to know he's arrived. He now has a brand new BMW for his birthday. So he went bar hopping. So got home at around 3, slept. Then at 6 in the morning, he had some scratching, screeching noise. And in his drunken stupor, he felt that somebody was scratching his
BMW.
newly acquired Be My Wife.
Oh.
So he woke up and he took the nearest weapon he could get his hands on, which was a hammer, and he rushed out of the house. And true to his imagination, there was this monster scratching on the door of his newly acquired BMW. And he held the monster's hand and put it on a rock that was nearby and hammered that hand to a bloody pulp.
What?
The monster was crying, and put monster in quotes here, because he cried until he could cry no more. And then senses came to this guy's head. He got his sense back. He looked at the monster. It was his 4-year-old boy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Now the hand is fully damaged.
Yeah.
By the father. So quickly he put him in the car, took him to hospital, James. And because of time, I want to summarize this story. The doctors told him, you know, we have to cut off this guy's hand. The damage is so bad.
Yeah.
Cannot repair. And you have to sign these papers, which he did. Operation took like 4 hours. Eventually they came out. The guy was pacing up and down. Of course, he was anxious. His emotions had gone now from the anger he was feeling now to anxiety to many things, maybe guilt. And they told him, now you can come and see your boy. So he walked in. And when he walked in, he was shocked because the boy was smiling. You know, at that age, the boy's hero is his father. Now he had even forgotten what the father had done. And the fact that the father is there with him made him happy. Look at all these emotions between two people. The father got so shocked that the boy could actually smile at him after he had committed such a heinous act. That he said, before I even talk to him, I want to go to the car and see what it is that he had scratched on the door. So he went, and these are the words he found on the door. Happy birthday, Dad. I love you very much.
Wow.
That guy got so broken, he went, he bought a rope and hanged himself. Never went back to... Yes. The guilt was so bad. He could not face the kid that he was writing for him happy birthday. Instead of the guy going home to celebrate his birthday with his family, he went to the boys. And now here is a boy expressing his love for the father in the best way he knew how, on a place he thought the father would never miss because he's always opening the door to his car. Now look at it. If you are asked what killed that man, what caused that boy to lose his hand, all that was about an unmanaged emotion of anger. The guy put more value, more premium on a car than on human beings, on his own son, his own family. So what I want to discuss in the aim is how do we manage every time you feel these things, because we've said we are all human beings, whether you're a pastor, you're a coach, you will have emotions. The first thing that you must do is, before taking any action, just breathe in, breathe out. It helps to just breathe. There's a law I teach called the law of substitution. I saw it in action last night. I've always seen it in action. Last night there was a football game between Manchester and Liverpool. I'm also a fan of football games.
Yes.
And when, Liverpool equalized, this guy of Manchester had kept two of his serious weapons on the bench.
Yes.
And what did he do? He simply substituted some people who were not being effective and brought in his arsenal.
Yes.
And one of them ended up winning the game for the team. And when you think about that, it's so applicable in our life situations. When you are feeling an emotion that you know is not helping you, when you're feeling an emotion that you know it can lead you down the road of destruction, simply breathe in, breathe out, assess the situation, and do what is called substitution of emotions. The law of substitution simply says this: at any one moment, you can always substitute an idea or a concept or an emotion that's not working with a better emotion.
Yes.
If you are feeling something that you know is going to lead you down the road of destruction, once you've breathed in or breathed out, do something that will take away the feeling, albeit momentarily. I heard somebody saying that they read the Bible, they pray. Take a walk. Even just taking a walk from the situation so that your brain can start getting to the default restoration of normalness. If you love a hobby, you have a hobby, go and engage in that hobby. Take a jog, go and play tennis, go and ride a bike, do something that takes you away from the situation so that while you are doing that, you can get a better perspective. And you may even realize whoever you are angry with had not done anything wrong. It was all a perspective you had that was wrong. You see?
Wow.
There's a gentleman called Stephen Covey, the late.
Yes.
He's written a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the first habit, which applies across board, he says, is be proactive. When you feel something, know that you are in control. Don't let emotions control you.
Yes.
Take charge and think about what you can do to diffuse the tension, to deal with the stress, and then put you in a situation where now you are able to act logically, normally, and positively.
Wow. Steve, it's always a blessing to host you, my friend. You always leave me charged up and, with quite a number of things to think about. So thank you for your time today.
You're most welcome, Percy. It's always a pleasure.
Awesome. We will definitely have to do this again. I'm out of time for today, but I hope that Adam has been able to help you. Remind us again, Adam, eh?
Acknowledge your emotions, or acknowledge you are a human being first and you're emotional. Number D is differentiate between the different emotions. Distinguish between the different emotions. The next day is accept and appreciate your emotions. Emotions help you. They are just triggers. And then R, reflect on the emotions and their origin. Very important. So that you are able to differentiate between the seen and the sinner. And then lastly, manage your emotions. Learn to be in charge.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve. Well, I hope you remember those 5 pointers and look at them, think about them. They will help you in managing your emotions.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.